Hey, what's going on? It's your boy Expat D here. Today what I want to talk about is really having a diet and being on the road. Okay, so that this is something that I've struggled with in the past because I do travel a lot. I've been living outside of America for it's been like the past 7 out of 8 years. And so there's a couple of myths. Some people feel like, oh man, I left America and all the foods don't have the GMOs and then this and then that, right? And I just lost weight. And they make it sound like just because you left America, like all of a sudden you just lost weight. And for some people, just like getting more steps and, a lot of depending on where you go, a lot of the foods will be more like what's classified as organic and things like that. Uh, Initially, it could help, right? But then at the same time, let's say if you're living outside the country, you may have more buying power and you can order like Uber Eats and that type of stuff to your house, and so it's not a guarantee that just because you leave the country that you're going to lose weight. What I want to talk about is a couple of preparation strategies that I use that can help me, and this is not necessarily just leaving the country. It just helps when I'm trying to prepare in case I'm just in a situation where I may just be out and I need to eat, and making sure that that's not a combination that will mess me up on my diet. So a lot of times what will happen in the past is let's say I'm going to be out for the day, and I may eat a healthy breakfast, and then now I'm on the road and I'm like, dang, I'm not going to be home in time for lunch or dinner or whatever. So now I'm in a situation where I have to eat out or outside the house, and then I may make a good decision, I may not make a good decision, or I may just be estimating. And a lot of times when you estimate too much, then you could be off. The first thing I want to talk about is there's some apps now, and I've tried an app, where they have these apps now where you're scanning your food in the app. And so I was like, man, that's so great, man. I could just scan it and it'll tell me how many calories and stuff it is, right? But see, I tried it. There's some flaws to that. So what I did is I made a particular dish, one that I know what I put in. I pretty much know the macros and the calories in what I made. And I scanned it. Way off. It was like, I swear it was maybe 300 calories off. And I was like, dang, right? So the thing is, when it does come down to like you're using apps or things to scan your food, you're kind of getting into the area of estimating anyway. But I would not overly rely on that, okay, as a tool. It could get you like in a ballpark area, because the problem is a lot of times we have to eat out or eat things that we're not sure of, and you're not prepared, you can be way off. Like, I'll give you an example. One of my struggles, it was because I live in a lot of foreign countries and I'm just intrigued by food. I might see something like, wow, what's that, right? Like, I'm someone that I like, like samosas, right? Like Indian samosas. And a lot of countries will have different versions of that. And I'm like, I had no idea, man. Like, the thing is kind of small, kind of dense. I had no idea, man. This little old thing, man, might have like 300 calories each. And I'm just like popping those things, man, going to town. And so that's the thing. It's like, when you're traveling and you're not sure, you don't really have like the research on it, you could be taking in a lot more calories than you think. That's just something to keep in mind. And so while like having apps is a good step, keep in mind that If you over rely on that without having like for example, you should scan something, and I'm not talking about something that like has a barcode and like nutrition labels and stuff like that. But if you're just scanning it and it's giving you a calorie estimation, you should do that and then Google it, right? And then see which one is closer, right? That's something to keep in mind. Now, what I'm going to do is I want to show you two things. So I'm going to walk around. I'm in this Airbnb right now. It's a little bit messy because I'm packing up because I'm leaving soon. I'll be heading back to America for a little bit, which should be fun. Now, here's two tools that I use. And I guess I'll show you. When I travel, what helps me is number one, this is a food scale. Okay, mine's a little bit, it's really beat up. I'm probably going to have to buy another one because it get kind of beat up in the luggage, but having a food scale really helps because it helps me weigh my food. And, I know that I'm eating something that is hitting my macros. That really helps having a food scale. I'm not as crazy as, like, I won't bring a food scale into a restaurant. I'll use a different strategy for that. I can get into that a little bit later. But yeah, I'm not that like, now to me, this kind of gets a little, getting into, what some may consider extreme, but like, yeah, when I travel, I'm just not trying to like go backwards on my diet, so, because that can really add up. If you're out and you're miscalculating things, it can set you back. If you do it enough, it can set you back weeks. So that's one thing. I have a food scale. Number two, here's one of my hacks. Okay, this is a thermos. Now, what I will do is I'll prepare my food, and let's say whatever. Let's say I'm gonna have sweet potatoes and lean ground beef. Let's say that's my lunch. Okay, I weigh it out. I'll heat it up, and then after I heat it up, I'll put it in a thermos so when I eat it later, it's still hot. So yeah, so I'll take my thermos with me. I might bring like a fork or a spoon, and that will allow me to hit my macros and stay within my calorie range, while on the go. Okay. Now, if you want to hear about what I'll do in a restaurant, there's some apps like MenuFit, which I've tried it. Right now I'm in Africa, so I was actually kind of surprised to see a couple of restaurants that were in Africa. But when I'm in the States, I'll really get a chance to use that. But that will at least help me. So what MenuFit is, it's an app that basically it has like a list of restaurants, and it gives recommendations for like their healthiest options or different combinations that are like high in protein and lower on calories. Now, if I don't have access to that, these are my two hacks. Hack number one is, let's say if I know I'm going to go out to a restaurant. For example, I went to, in the Middle East, they have a Cheesecake Factory. So what I did is, I know now Cheesecake Factory is great because they do have a skinny fit menu. So what I did is I looked up like the different options, and I kind of Googled the estimated macros of those meals, and then I kind of, I kind of planned out. So I kind of went in to a restaurant with a game plan, knowing, okay, I'm going to order this. It's going to have this much macros. I can have this, this, and this. So that's one thing that helped. Now, let's say, and this is getting a little bit more into the estimation, but I feel like it may be more accurate than the like scanning it on, taking a picture. My second hack is, if I know I'm going to a restaurant, but let's say like their menu isn't available online, what I'll do is I'll Google the food item. And then what I'll do is I'll find a recipe for that item. And then what I'll do is I'll take that recipe and then I will run it through ChatGPT, and then I'll ask it for like an estimated macros, right? So basically, and to break it down a little bit more, let's say if I wanted a particular recipe, and it just gives me like a full recipe, and then it'll be like a full, let's say it's like a whole like plate of like a whole like bake like of lasagna, right? Like a whole pan of lasagna. Then I'll take that, and then let's say if the recipe says 8 servings, then I'll take the total like calorie and macros of that, and then I'll divide that by 8, and then that's how I figure out how much I'm estimating. Now, when you start getting into like restaurants and stuff like that, it is definitely more estimations. But this is how you could kind of get a ballpark figure. So the goal of this is to have a game plan. Because if you just go out to a restaurant, or you're just out to eat, you're hungry, you're stuck in traffic, whatever, so, your days, you're out longer than you thought you would, man, that just opens up the floodgates to just having just getting off your diet. Then if you're off your diet for one meal, you're like, man, I already messed up today. And then you're gonna turn around and eat something else. And then you're like, man, I messed up yesterday. I'll just mess up today, man, who cares? I'm already off my diet. And then that one day could turn to 3 days, would turn to a week, would turn to a month, would turn into you just being off your diet. So one way that, these are a couple of my hacks to just help me be prepared when I'm on the go or I'm in an unfamiliar situation. All right, anyway, I'm Expat D. That's, that's a little bit of my takeaway. I'm currently a traveler, and so I've been living outside of America for the past 7 or 8 years. I've traveled to over 30 countries. I'm currently on a fat loss journey. I'm down. I'm getting close to being down about 40 pounds. Okay, it's kind of within that range, 35, 40 pound range. I'm making these videos to really, help people that are going through a fat loss phase, and they just want to, hopefully you can see these videos, you can relate. You can say, man, I'm trying to lose a lot of weight, just like you. I feel like I'm in a certain phase that you're in. These strategies are working for me at this phase that I'm in. And I hope you learned something from it. And maybe I could help somebody, maybe help someone start off a diet and rethink about their approach. Maybe rethink about being so restrictive. You may want to say, oh man, I want to do, intermittent fasting or keto, or do a whole bunch of cardio or something like that. And you may set yourself up and doing something that doesn't fit you, it's not sustainable, something that you're not going to continue. So this may influence you to get on a path and do something in a way that you can have success with long term. But that's what it's about. This is not just about getting hot for a couple of months, losing a bunch of weight and then going back to normal and you gain it all back. This is about sustainability and creating as a lifestyle. So if you can figure out a way of eating that you can get excited about, because I'll tell you, in this first 40 pounds, it's funny because when, my family, like my wife was looking at the food I was eating, she was like, how the hell are you losing weight off of this? Because the thing is, when I started, just to give you a little bit of information, when I started my cut, I started at 2,800 calories. Right, I didn't jump all the way down to 2,000 or 1,800 or 1,500. I started at 2,800 and I was killing it, man. I was losing 2 to 3 pounds a week doing that. And so the thing about it is, of course, hitting my macros, hitting at least 200 grams of protein, and making sure to get my fiber, at least 25 grams of fiber. But the funny thing about it is, Some of the food, the food even now, when you look at my meal, they just look massive because I'm eating a lot of whole foods, and it's like, man, you have like this whole like mountain of food, and it's like if you really look at it, it's like, man, there's no way, there's no way I should be able to lose weight like that. But anyway, yeah, if you guys want to, but the beauty of this channel, what I would like is you guys could follow me on this journey, and you can see. Right, you can see, and you can see that the information that I have is coming from a trustworthy source. I don't have any like hidden tricks, or like I'm not like giving you this information, explaining my experience, but I'm like secretly on like weight loss medication and stuff. That no, this is like I'm just like showing you guys tools and strategies that really work. There's a lot of different approaches to go through it, to go through and get your goal. The problem is a lot of them are not sustainable in the long term, and so it'll be fun, right? It'll be fun to, like, I don't know when you'll start watching my, come across my video, but months from now, you can go back and you can be like, man, like, look, this is this guy talking 30, 40 pounds ago, right? It'd be fun to see, what adjustments I make, what the reality is of some of the strategies that I've used. If you want to look at some of my other videos, I talk about like starting a fat loss journey successfully and sustainably. I talk about going on a diet break. Other experiences that I'm going through, I'll share it. But yeah, I'm going to end things here. I'm XBagD. And thanks a lot for spending time with me. Peace, I'm out.